a notorious prison, lies smack in the heart of Kuala Lumpur.
Pudu jail was a time bomb when I was there.
Once home to killers, rapists, and heroes.
Prisoner on Illusions is like a freedom of movement. And all of the things is battle.
To some, it was sacred. To others, it was hell.
Bila buka tali tu, bunyi.
Enter the realm of lost souls, beyond bars, Pudu Jail. Kuala Lumpur is a city that likes to look forward to the future. But in June 2010, more than 1,000 people gather in central Kuala Lumpur to protest against the demolition of a 100-year-old city landmark. Their cause is not palace nor temple, but the dark and forbidding Pudu Jail.
I still don't know the stories behind these walls. So I guess the only way for us to appreciate these stories is by taking care of this building. Don't demolish it. We should take care of it, take it like a heritage building. And I guess the future generation could learn a lot more.
Pada saya tak perlu dirobohkan kerana di Kuala Lumpur ni kita kekurangan bangunan bersejarah.
Everybody was waiting because the excavators were there. The big machines were about to knock down the wall, and when it did, there was this big gasp from everyone.
For others, the old dilapidated jail no longer has a place in the center of this vibrant, prosperous city.
Kita memang kata meroboh sebab apa? Dia kat tengah-tengah kota, jadi lagi pembangunan dia tak nampak apa-apa cantik lagi dah kan. Tak ada pemeliharaan. Jadi dia patut merobohkan untuk pembangunan yang bagi peluang kepada pembangunan yang lain.
As a proud Malaysian, I don't know how a prison represents my heritage and culture. The less the prison is, the more my people are safe.
Gangster Tan Alek spent 5 years locked up behind these looming walls before going straight. For him, Pudu is a concrete symbol of redemption and should be preserved to warn future generations that crime doesn't pay. Former prison officer Nur Shahid believes just as strongly that the infamous jail must be saved.
It's a heritage building. It was built 115 years ago. So I think that part of it should be preserved. Just to remind people that Pudu jail once stood here. You see, that is important for future generations to see.
Pudu Prison has been an integral part of the history of Kuala Lumpur for more than 100 years. A big bustling city today, Kuala Lumpur started as a collection of humble dwellings at the confluence of 2 rivers. Here, thousands of impoverished Chinese men struggled to make their fortunes in muddy, disease-ridden jungle swamps. Then, Kuala Lumpur was a frontier town, a lawless place where rival gangs fought each other to gain control of gambling dens. When they died, the inhabitants of old Kuala Lumpur, including the victims of these vicious gang wars, ended up in vast burial grounds built on the edge of town. It was on top of one of these burial grounds that the British resolved to build a mighty prison to impose their will on the lawless gangs.
It was built 115 years ago in a jungle. Pudu was a jungle at that time, you see, and Kuala Lumpur was Batu Road. So they said that tigers were roaming around there and those days, you see, it was 100 over years ago.
Construction began in 1891 using materials brought from all over the British Empire. After 4 years of hard convict labor, Pudu Jail loomed above the swampy ground of the old cemetery.
Look at me, Pudu Jail. I'm a statement building too, If you do something bad, boy, you're just gonna go behind there, whoever is in power makes statement buildings. Look at the KLCC, the Twin Towers. You look at Shanghai, you look at any country in the world. At any period of time, there are statement buildings.
Pudu became a brooding symbol of British power and its harsh system of justice. Death stalked the new prison from the very start. In August 1895, an outbreak of cholera sweeps through the jail. Pudu was quarantined. Prisoners languished in the cells, their bodies ravaged by lethal bacteria. The epidemic seemed unstoppable. Hundreds died, horribly. The prison governor had to find the source of infection. It was the prison surgeon, E.A.O. Travers, who eventually worked out why Pudu had become a death trap for its inmates. Travers realized that the solution must have something to do with the prison's water supply. So he traced it back to its source, an old well that tapped straight into the old Chinese cemetery beneath the prison. It brimmed with deadly bacteria. But it still took 3 years to stem the outbreak. And it seems that the restless dead have never let the residents of Pudu jail, neither prisoners nor warders, forget their presence.
I heard the story of a female flying ghost going around, you see, from cell looking at that and whatnot at night.
即嗰啲嚟講嗰啲幽靈嗰啲啊，入邊喺入邊死啊，你離開唔到本知道，如果係上吊喺入邊打交死嘅，因為本身班由日本仔嘅時候，好多人喺入邊死嘅。
Since it was built, thousands of prisoners have been incarcerated inside Pudu prison. They had committed every imaginable kind of crime. But for every prisoner, each day began with the same ominous sound as their cell doors are unlocked. For more than a century, Malaysia's most wanted wrongdoers were locked up in Pudu jail in the center of Kuala Lumpur. Inside, every inmate was treated equally. The prison made no distinction between races and classes.
There is no special classification according to crimes here in Pudu jail. All prisoners that come from Selangor are housed here, whether they are robbers or murderers or rapists or kidnappers, they are all put in Pudu jail.
For the prisoners and warders alike, the day began before dawn. Outside, traders at the nearby wet market have long been awake. School children and the first wave of workers were starting another normal day. Only the fetid smells wafting from the prison canteen reminded ordinary citizens of a very different world hidden behind the concrete walls of Pudu jail. Inside, prison life had its own unique rhythm. It began noisily at 7 o'clock, with the cacophonous sound of 600 padlocks being unlocked and cell doors thrown open. Every warder on duty was responsible for maintaining order on a single wing of 50 cells, each one containing at least 6 prisoners.
Mula-mula daripada pukul 7 tu, dia orang buka bilik, dia orang buang najis dia orang punya najis lah. Satu dulu pakai tong, pakai ni apa kan, dia orang sendiri buang. Dah habis sendiri buang, dia masuk balik bilik, masuk tong apa, belakang pukul 8 dia orang keluar lah. Dia orang keluar, datang ni macam orang yang kok aus punya bagi makan dia, datang bagi makan lah. Pukul 8 dia orang makan lah. Makan, bagi orang salah makan pukul 8 tu. Sampai pukul 9 tu habislah makan dia orang. Makan dia orang habis bekerja lah. Tengoklah kerja apa kerja dia orang. Ada yang buat tukang kasut, ada yang buat ini tukang kayu, ada yang buat tukang jahit.
Inside this pressure cooker world, fights exploded frequently, usually without warning. For inmates, fighting was a matter of honor, and sides had to be taken. Life was cheap. Grudges were never forgiven.
因為我哋喺黑社會出嚟，有時人哋講：屌你咩大哥又點？係咪先？有時嗰啖氣吞唔落㗎嘛。 一攤唔落就咩咯，就打交咯，咁免不了嘅。如果話愛嘅就即係如果話係心服嚟講，即係下晝嗰度你入嚟我房咯。
Many of the inmates were hard-bitten gangsters and triad gang members. They had no intention of making peace with old enemies, who had also ended up inside Pudu. Many of the bloody fights that erupted between prisoners were unfinished gang wars.
嗰陣時即係因為本身有經費啊，嚟一班咁，一班即係把生嘅同哥唔哥㗎嘛，攞刀仔出嚟，一班打到總之好亂啊，打死好多擺咗入邊，10幾個打嗰邊唔死，梗死㗎嘛，你係因為你小龍蝦。
Even for prisoners unconnected to gangs inside or outside the jail, violence was hard to escape. Just about anything could be turned to use as a weapon.
Zaman dulu zaman saya dulu lah. Kalau bergaduh, memang ada lah kan. Memang dia kalau gaduh main tikam lah. Dan pasal dia banyak gang fight. Pasal dia banyak kumpulan. Yalah satu bilik pun mau 5-16 orang. Satu bilik tu 16 orang sekali turun datang, tak mati yang seorang tau. Matilah kena tak. Yang pakai bunyi, yang pakai macam-macam lah. Yang pakai batu-batu semua ada.
For some prisoners who have been pushed to the limit, there was only one final way out.
好似你上吊都好啊，你腳喺地下都會死㗎嘛。好多企住個門嚟吊啊。
Even a toughened career criminal like Tana Lek succumbed to despair.
啲毛巾爬上個窗口度綁住嚟吊，爬上㗎嘛。因為我哋個床差唔多即係你一壓啊咁樣就跳上個窗口度，鐵枝你一下揸到嘛。我哋人揸到鐵枝咪爬上去啦，綁咗個棘咁樣，我吊嘅時候乜嘢？咁我吊唔成嘛。因為即係嗰陣時即係好低落嘅時候啊，冇諗咁多啊，諗到監期仲有成7年，有冇點樣嚟過啲日子？
The prison authorities could not predict when an inmate might crack. Warder Abdul Manap spent 30 years working in Pudu. He remembers one incident when a prisoner working as a cobbler in the prison workshop unexpectedly went berserk.
Tengok ni tengok balik pisau. Dia dendam nak pakcik ke bukan. Dia tak dapat nak apa pakcik, dia balik dengan pisau.
Faced with violent daily confrontations, the warders had one final sanction: the solitary confinement cell. Prisoners called a spell of solitary confinement going to Genting Highlands, referring to a hill resort just outside Kuala Lumpur. But of course, it was no holiday. The solitary confinement cell was tiny, dark, and putrid. Time locked away in here could undermine the mental state of even the hardest men. Prisoners condemned to solitary confinement received only bread and water, which was torture for Asian men, used to daily portions of rice.
Itu kena tak boleh campur kan. Makan roti ni kita badan rumah. Ya kita tak pernah makan roti. Makan roti kira tak ada nasi, tak ada air, tak ada air kopi, tak ada apa lah, tak ada kanji, tak ada apa. Makan roti dengan
Only the toughest of the tough, the Pudu elite, could hope to withstand this sanity-sapping regime. Whenever they could, Pudu inmates pursued their criminal careers as they did outside, even secretly making weapons inside the prison.
因為入邊有鐵廠嘛，有鐵廠可以自己攞嚟磨咯，自己喺房間磨啊，攞啲藤啊，喺度尖嘅，嗰啲牙刷啊，拉尾嗰度攞嚟磨尖嘅咯。梗如果係咁好傷噶啦，梗係滿身窿噶啦。
When you're inside, desperation is the mother of invention, and Pudu prisoners had plenty of time